Greetings and salutations, viewers. Welcome to a special author interview that we have for you today. This time round, I managed to finally touch base with Deborah Hunt. Thank you for taking a few minutes to join us.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here and able to share my book.
Now, we met you at Book Expo America and managed to talk to you for a short while then, but we were hoping to learn about your latest book, which actually comes out today, I hear.
Yes. Oh my gosh. It's so thrilling. I still feel like I'm cloud nine and that this is so surreal, but it's thrilling that it's out. And the other book came out, The One-Eyed Pug came out August 15th. And so now 1 month later, this new book is out.
Now, for our viewers out there who are not familiar, what is Same Inside, Different Outside all about?
Okay, so this book has several themes, and one of the big ones is diversity. And then the second theme is learning about the human body. And the third theme is about fear and overcoming fear. So in this story, it takes place in Emma's kindergarten class.
And what does Emma experience throughout this story?
Okay, so Emma's in kindergarten and her teacher, Mr. Gold, says, today is so exciting because we're going to have a visit from a scientist named Dr. Shore, who's an older woman, and she's bringing Mr. Bones, who's a life-size skeleton. And she's going to teach her a lesson about the human body. And so in the beginning, the kids are starting with Emma, well, I don't see how we can look the same on the inside when we look so different on the outside. And then Dr. Bones is going to share that. And Emma's kind of afraid of skeletons, and some of the other children are too, but she seems the most fearful of the skeleton.
Well, they can be a little scary sometimes.
Yes, especially a life-size one with a lab coat on who's hanging on a hook. And this story was really influenced heavily, some with just the way our world is right now, and really the need to really understand and embrace diversity and our similarities versus our differences. And I teach nursing. I'm a nursing professor, and one of the courses I teach is on transcultural nursing and cultural care and concepts. And so that kind of gave me the impetus for the book.
That conveniently ties into what was your creative process while writing this book. What sort of inspired you to write this story?
Yes, it definitely inspired me. It's something I had been thinking about for a long time. There was the spark of the idea, and then slowly it came into, well, how can I really bring about what I want to share, but not to be preaching to anybody, or, you want the lessons to be very subtle. And so I thought if I could weave it into like teaching about the human body, that's important for children to understand how their bodies work on the inside, and also understand how we are very, very similar.
Very nice. It is hard to compress such a complex concept into something easily digestible, as it were, for children.
That's very true. And I really worked on this book for quite a while. And then what helped me was it was a very rudimentary picture book dummy, but what helped me was to develop a picture book dummy. And I'm not an artist. I do like to paint, but I'm not a good drawer. But I was able to at least make these very rudimentary sketches so that I had an idea of how the book should flow and what might work or might not work.
For the viewers who are not necessarily familiar with the concept of the dummy, is that basically a rough blueprint of the layout you wanted for the book, or?
Yes, exactly. And there's online templates, there's ways to do it. I have to say mine was basic. I just took plain white computer paper and folded them in half and made the standard 32 pages. Had read, a few things on what page to start on. And then I'd put the words, I printed out my manuscript and I cut and pasted words onto this little booklet that I made. And then I would take my pencil and draw little pictures either underneath or on the next page, the sideways page.
Nice. Hopefully you had fun during the whole process.
I had a lot of fun, and I have 3 children. They're young adults now. However, they were really my initial critiquers. So I passed it to them, and they looked at it. And then I did submit the book to Writer's Digest, has a second draft critique program. So I did submit it there, and I was given some helpful advice. There wasn't a lot of editorial comments, but there was enough to kind of help me really refine my writing and refine the book.
Very nice. I wasn't aware that they had that service out there.
Yeah, I've used it several times, and you just have to belong to Writer's Digest. They have an online website, and they share all kinds of information about writing, about how to find an agent, how to write a query letter, and then they have books, lots of references, and then they have other things such as you can have a whole editorial process done on your book. There's developmental edits that you can have done. You can send your query letter. Like, they have all these wonderful services. The picture book is, I think it was $40 for me to submit it and have an expert review it and give me some helpful advice.
That's a pretty good price for what you get out of it, I would think.
It certainly is. It was worth every penny and more. And I did, write that critique on their website because the woman's name was Holly, and she was very, very helpful to me. So I'm, very thankful. And I do think, her input certainly helped facilitate my ending up having Waldorf Publishers take on this project with me.
That's great. Now, at the very beginning, you mentioned that your other book recently released as well. For our viewers out there, what other books do you have available out there currently?
So currently in the children's book genre, I have 2 books. The One-Eyed Pug, which is a chapter book, and it's a work of fiction, but is based on a true story of a pug and a Boston Terrier named Chewy. And it goes through their whole ordeal about being in a forever home and adoption and an accident and recovery and friendship. And so that's a real fun book for really, it's geared for ages 5 to 10, but I have to say that it's really, adults love it. And it's a good book to read to children too. So it really is, I think, across the lifespan, The One-Eyed Pug. I think same inside, different outside would be something, of course, with the younger children and their parents or caregivers, librarians. I think older people might like it too, but I think The One-Eyed Pug lends itself more to across the lifespan.
Nice. Are there any upcoming works or stuff you're still working with that you're allowed to share with us?
Yes, I think I can. I have, just to go back, I do have some short stories, children's short stories, and they're published. 3 of them were published in Guardian Angel Kids online.
Oh, nice.
So if anybody's interested, they're available. As an aside, I'm a nursing professor who publishes nursing textbooks. So those are out there through Springer Publishing. But as far as children's books, I'm working on the follow-up book to The One-Eyed Pug. And at the end of The One-Eyed Pug is the clue to what the next story is going to be about. So, and it focuses, of course, it's the One-Eyed Pug, who you find out who she is at the end, and Chewy. And so it's really their adventure.
Nice. I can only imagine how complicated it must be to write textbooks.
Yes, it is. But the process is, of course, it's more arduous and there's a lot of research. But what happens with the textbook, at least in my case, you send in your proposal, and if it's accepted, you write it. And so you already know that it's going to be published for the most part. I mean, anything can happen. Where with the children's books, you write them and then you do your search for your publisher, or agent if you can get an agent, and then you hope for the best. So I do not have an agent at this point. I hope to at some point, but there are small publishing houses, or more independent publishing houses such as Waldorf Publishers that will accept what they consider unsolicited. So you can send without an agent. So you really have to do your homework though. That takes a lot of time to explore different publishers and agents, and whenever you're submitting, and polish your submission letters and your manuscript. So it's a long process, but if you love it, it's worth it, because I would write whether or not I was going to get published. I love to write. So for me, it's a work of love. And of course, the icing on the cake, or the frosting on the cake, is getting published.
And where can our viewers and listeners out there find your works, including this one, which just came out today, listeners, to purchase?
Yeah. So again, I think I've been very lucky this year. My books are available, of course, on the Waldorf site, and it's basically a link to Amazon on their site. So they're on Amazon. They're in Barnes & Noble, online, Target, Overstock, eBay. They are also on, there's another shop they're in that I'm going to lose my track, sorry. But they're on also other venues. They're in other countries. They're in Germany and France, England, Canada. So they're pretty widely available. And I've been lucky because I did my first book signing event at Barnes & Noble in Stamford, Connecticut last week. And the One-Eyed Pug was available for sale, and they do have some in stock in the bookstore. And yeah, it was so fun. And then tomorrow I have another book signing event at the Barnes & Noble in Eastchester, New York. And they have the One-Eyed Pug. They don't have the same inside, different outside physically in the store yet, because it just came out, but it is available online.
That's great. I highly encourage all of our viewers out there to go to the Waldorf Publishing website, so you can find all of the various links to your book service provider of choice, whatever it may be, so you can purchase a copy of The One-Eyed Pug, the same inside, different outside, maybe both, whatever our viewers happen to enjoy. And I want to thank you again for taking a few moments so you could help us understand just what the same inside and different outside was all about, so we can hopefully go purchase it and enjoy it and then review it for you.
Thank you. I really appreciate any feedback I get. I would like to add that at this point, I've gotten some nice feedback. I've gotten 5-star reviews on both of my books from Readers' Favorites. I've gotten a 4-star review and a Silver Award from Literary Titan. And the book is also being reviewed, this book, Same Inside, Different Outside, by Literary Titan. And I donated books. I belong to the Society of Children's Book Writers and Illustrators, so I did donate books for their readers program. And these books will also be displayed at the Tempe Book Festival. I will not be there, but I did that through Storytime.
Oh, nice.
Story Monsters, sorry. Yes, so that's all exciting things. So I love to read feedback. Of course, hope for good feedback, but you have to take the good with the bad. So whatever the feedback is will only help me further develop as a writer.
Great. I encourage everyone to give constructive criticism and good reviews. And until next time,
Thank
viewers, as always, go be creative. Go read a book. Go have some fun.